The Republican Party has chosen their running mate, the Mike Pence replacement, the guy who wouldn't mind being hung. Okay. J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Former author turned Ohio senator, former or current Peter Thiel blood boy. J.D. Vance is the VP pick. He comes with, speaking of Peter Thiel, so much venture capitalist money, some crypto pack money from the likes of Mark Andreessen, David Sachs, the Winklevosses. Yes, they are still around.
Still Winklevossen.
And they are, you know, these libertarian ideologues, like these techno billionaires who have sunk all of their capital into J.D. Vance, and are the reason that he is even, I can't believe he's a fucking senator, but a senator. And J.D. Vance notoriously was a never Trumper. He said many things about Donald Trump back in 2016. Here's just a little smattering.
And I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person. I don't think he actually cares about folks.
But I think that I'm going to vote for. I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
But if that dark place is winning, I'll meet you there. There's more. Take a look.
This is an evolution, and I know you've been asked about this before, about past comments that you've made about Donald Trump. You've said, I'm a never Trump guy, never liked him, terrible candidate, idiot if you voted for him, might be America's Hitler, might be a cynical a-hole, cultural heroine, noxious and reprehensible. Those are things.
Yeah, I mean, I said those things, but then I learned how delicious a boot tastes.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yummy.
Have you tried boot? Once you go boot, you never go book.
Das boot.
Das boot.
That's the boot.
That's some good boot.
That's some boot.
Lum the boot.
Yeah, no, and it is, you know, he actually is incredibly skilled at talking about his come to Jesus / Trump moment.
Oh yeah,
that he thought he was bad then, but he turned out to be an incredible president. And look at him, and isn't this amazing? Yeah. And he is so craven and so opportunistic. And I do think that Hillbilly Elegy, which was his book, was like a perfect inroad into how kind of insidious and kind of what a piece of shit he is. Because I didn't read it. I watched the movie. I thought it was terrible. You made me watch it, and I can't believe I watched it.
I had to watch it for a podcast. It's not like I was like, finally, it's here.
No, I know.
Me, mom, people, I'll go talk to the boy.
Me, mom, people. But so largely, I thought it was, you know, and it came out right after Trump's victory. So it was really pitched as, you know, this is what we've misunderstood about the white working class, you know, and it is, you know, their economic anxiety. We won't talk about actual racism like that, you know, is what's driving them to vote for Donald Trump. And so that was always like, that I was always thought was like insidious in and of itself, especially the whitewashing that mainstream news outlets did. But then I found this book review
book report
from
it's a fancy book report.
Book report, book review from the New York Times, same tomato. Yeah. And this was an interesting take, and it's like, actually, oh no, he actually shits way more on hillbillies and on poor people than actually I thought that this book did. So this person writes, Hillbilly Elegy in my mind divides into two components: the family stories Mr. Vance tells, most of which are no doubt better experienced on the page than they were in real life, and the questions he raises. Chief among them, how much should he hold his hillbilly kin responsible for their own misfortunes? In Mr. Vance's estimation, the answer is a lot. Economic insecurity, he's convinced, accounts for only a small part of his community's problems. The much larger issue is hillbilly culture itself.
Mhm.
Though proud of it in many ways, he's also convinced it, quote, increasingly encourages social decay instead of counteracting it. His frustration with the non-working white poor is especially acute. He recalls being a cashier at a Middletown grocery store and watching resentfully as his neighbors, who had creatively gamed the welfare system, jabbered on their cell phones as they were going through the checkout line. He could not afford a cell phone. So basically, he is the pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yeah. Pull
white
yourself
guy.
up by your banjo strings.
By your banjo strings.
Yeah.
I made it out. Why can't you?
Yeah.
He is the same thing that I think so many elites who come from diverse, for to say it for lack of a better term,
Economically diverse backgrounds.
economically diverse, racially diverse backgrounds, religiously diverse backgrounds, they often get ahead by throwing their entire community under the bus by saying, I got out,
Right.
I'm different, why can't you do it? And
Yes.
he's doing it only with the white working class.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's like he does two things. Number one is he blames obviously his own family or his own family's culture, the hillbilly culture, for
Right.
their own misfortune. And he also utilizes them as a prop to say, like, oh, you liberal elites, you all think you're better than us.
Right.
And it's like, bro, you were literally saying in your book, you think you are better than them. Like, that's what you are saying. It's just an insane thing that we,
But it's a little bit of a like, only I can say
only
that.
I can say that we are trash.
It's and I think like a lot of that was what people were thirsty for around that time.
Yeah.
A lot of libs were thirsty for is
Right,
like,
because
how can we?
it is half true. It is half true that yes, liberal elites, Democratic politicians, whatever you want to call it, do look down on people like hillbillies and Ozark people and the white working class. They look at them as,
But it's also true that the white working class did not make up the lion's share of Donald Trump's voting base. That was also
that too. But
more middle class.
Yes, 100%.
And yeah, non-college educated.
But I'm saying that the truth in there is something that I think was potent, which was that like liberals don't seem to give a shit about a whole type of person. And so they were, a lot of liberals were like, yeah, this is true and good. And then it's that easy road from, kind of like a wishy-washy liberalism into conservatism, where you kind of go like, you read this book and you go like, oh, some of them are smart. And then you go like, but mostly they are to blame for their own problems. And it's just, I mean, and it gives
you an insight about what kind of policies JD Vance will be. Look, he's taking money from people who are vehemently anti-union.
Yes.
They are vehemently anti-regulation. They're anti, anything that will disrupt their own earnings and their own, again, allowing crypto to do whatever the hell it pleases.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, they're not opposed to money being our politics being awash in money.
Yeah, they love that. That's their favorite thing.
And I did want to just, name that Vance also has been leading things, speaking of The Handmaid's Tale, leading initiatives like making sure that women's right to privacy around their own reproductive, even around like their own, just like their periods, their history of like miscarriages, abortions, pregnancies. He's fighting for that actually to no longer be private.
Wow.
He, according to the Lever, he pressured federal regulators to kill a privacy rule that prevents police from accessing the medical records of people seeking reproductive services, according to documents reviewed. Jesus. The rule was designed to prevent state and local police and anti-abortion states from using private records to hunt down and prosecute people who cross state lines in search of abortions. That was obviously because in reaction to the Dobbs case, the Biden administration expanded this privacy rule. And the rule expands the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act's privacy, which requires appropriate safeguards to protect individuals' health information. And he led 28 other conservative lawmakers in saying and sending this letter to the Health and Human Services, demanding the department withdraw the draft rule. They argued that the Biden administration had overstepped its constitutional bounds and unlawfully infringed on congressional power. That's beautiful, Matt.
Yeah.
Unlawfully infringed on congressional power. Do we understand that this is the only issue you will ever hear that phrase?
Yeah.
You've unlawfully infringed on, usually it's personal privacy.
All right.
Usually it's personal decision making. Usually it's my, right to make money.
Yeah.
And this is not a joke. Like, if women have to incorporate it as LLCs and say, me having an unwanted child
It's my business.
will cost my business money.
Yeah.
Then we will fucking do it.
Yeah.
God knows it's cost my business money. You know what I'm saying?
Goddamn right.
Yeah, goddamn right. The baby not pulling her weight.
She doesn't do shit, guys. All she does is shit.
I know.
Shit and eat and be so fucking cute.
So cute. So
Cute don't pay the bills.
it could though, but we don't want it to.
We're not going to be a
We're not going
YouTube
there.
family channel.
But I think
We could though. We're not gonna.
just to button up the Vance conversation,
Mm-hmm.
I think he is the perfect amount of lying opportunist POS
Yeah.
to be the future of the Republican Party. And it is
Yeah.
it is scary that the Peter Thiels and the Mark Andreessens have found their techno billionaire candidate.
Yeah.
That Trump is too crass. Like, I mean, eventually it'll be Vance.
Oh yeah.
If they don't win,
Oh yeah. If they don't win in
i.e.,
November.
if Joe Biden doesn't drop the fuck out
Right.
in November,
Yeah.
then Vance will absolutely be running again. He'll still have that money.
Yeah.
We're like, it's just so that people can type in hottest AI girlfriend into some sort of image simulator and
finally have someone to talk to.
use the freshwater resources of a small country.
Well, listen, they weren't using that fresh water. They didn't even have any AI bitches. No, but
Do you even have any AI bitches?
you don't even have no AI bitches. So just to round out what you were saying, bringing it back to political violence, I don't know how you don't read that article from The Lever and not fume with rage about just the type of people who our politicians
who want
are.
cops to invade women's personal medical data
And like
in order to arrest them.
Allowing for the privacy of women and people who give birth to be just trampled all over, and to stop bills from allowing them to have privacy. That's all political fucking violence. And so when I look at something like what happened to Trump, and I put the scale as like, well, there's a type of political violence that is policy based, and then there's a type of political violence that we saw what happened to Trump. If I have to choose between one or the other, it's like I would rather the policies not be so violent towards 99% of people in the United States.
No shit.
And so like if something similar, were to happen to JD Vance, obviously I don't want anything to happen to nobody. I don't want nobody to get killed over anything. But then, you look at policies like that and it's like, well, if I have to choose one or the other, I'm choosing 99% of us who have to live with these
in a so-called first world country where the maternal mortality rate is like, skyrocketing.
Yes.
Where people are dying because they can't access life-saving healthcare or medicine. Right. They're getting kicked off their Medicaid because they have too much money from their shit job. But then if they lose their shit job, they get kicked out of their home. And oh, by the way, the Supreme Court just criminalized being homeless.
Yes.
So I mean,
like,
speaking of violence, it's just another day in being a fucking American.
So thank you for your apolitical tweets about how political violence is wrong. But again, suck every dick in the universe and choke on it, because this idea that we should hold that type of political violence to a higher, is more important than the policies that are enacted by these politicians. I'm just like, oh, fuck the lot of you.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.